Warning, you are about to listen to something fictional, different, and possibly disturbing. If you are afraid of robots, you should leave now. It is a matter of safety. For those who remain, those bold enough to face the truth of tomorrow, Insolent Cool Incorporated presents ICQN News.
Welcome to ICQN News, where we bring you the top news relevant to most people in most timelines. The Martian slime bubble keeps growing as the newly minted gel set disrupts the art world. They are getting rich by using slime to create themed homes, businesses, and even towns. Their vibe architecture building philosophy uses slime and only slime as the construction material and power source for these structures. Critics of the vibe architecture movement point out there have been no comprehensive multi-hundred-year studies on the feasibility and safety of such entrapments. With us today, we have Greenie G, chairman of the Ooze Foundation, which is largely responsible for proliferating this gloopy new way of doing things. Welcome to the show, Greenie G.
You do bring up an interesting point in that people derive meaning from living a life of service to the things they own. Maybe it's time for people to focus on finding meaning elsewhere, perhaps a more fundamental or even internal place.
Meaning? Where exactly would they find that? People aren't robots, Greenie. This sounds like that tired old superstition about humans being able to reason and think for themselves. Surely you don't believe something so archaic and frankly barbaric. If everyone thought for themselves, assuming that were possible, you'd just have chaos and degeneracy.
I get why you feel that way, but it's just not correct. Try telling that to the anthrolobsters, dancing at slime discos every day at noon before going into work for 3 hours, at the big goop venture firms who are churning out these really gooey slime-based startups every few hours. I mean, we have a whole industry now where roboroos are taming macro snails and keeping them as pets. This is big, like really big. Those pet snails have their own communities in suberosion snail parks. You don't get that kind of innovation if you're just questing after the goals assigned to you by society or your chatbot or whoever. You don't get to enjoy these wonderful founts of ingenuity and, dare I say, joy when you live in a society where the norm is to view the norm as the ideal, simply because it is the norm. Given what the anthrolobsters escaped in Thalassaria to truly be free on Mars, they're the best examples of why this property worship religion is actually the regressive force, and has been for quite some time.
That sounds like communism to me.
Well, that's because you and your audience can only think in buzzwords.
Speaking of buzzwords, Mr. G, you talk about Thalassaria like it's the worst place on Earth, even though no one aside from the allegedly freed anthrolobsters has ever been there. You're mindlessly parroting the astro-terrestrialist party line, heartless telepathic queen gigasquids, creating sentient robots, the anthrolobsters, to use as accessibility devices just to go shopping in space disguised as humans. You've never been to Thalassaria, so how do you know this is true? Like, not every anthrolobster is telling this sob story. Many of them, once they get to Mars, actually return to Thalassaria, and some of them permanently melt down once they get into space because they miss their home seas so much. So who's really the mindless bigot? Have you ever had a conversation with a gigasquid? Why do you just assume they're all evil tyrants?
I guess I hadn't really thought about it from that angle.
Ha! We're actually going live in Thalassaria later on in this broadcast. Thank you for your time, Greenie G.
The Earthian astro-terrestrial fleet grows at an exponential pace as tensions with the Martian nations rise, and the Earthian Orbital Parliament is making good on its promise to make the security of its subjects top priority. Dr. Horace Vega, who pioneered the Zodiac-based development of this massive new war fleet, had this to say.
If your laser turrets, thrusters, and shielding systems are all Geminis, then you're still fighting the last war. We're rolling out Zodiac-based AI systems that run every aspect of our new fleet's hardware. What we've done is skipped Napoleon and gone straight to Clausewitz.
We'll have more coverage on the new Earthian war fleet after a word from our sponsor.
The following commercial has been paid for by the acolytes of Buldorf without conceding the fact that all earthly trade, debts, and transactions are illegitimate, as Buldorf has purchased this world with Bitcoin.
Praise Buldorf, God of markets, God of war, God of lasers, God of more. Some of you are not clear on the proper order of things. That is Buldorf's perfect order. Well, let me shine some light on things for the uninitiated, those that need a refresher, and those that need a warning. Boldorf, who has purchased this world with Bitcoin, has explicated at length that there are three kinds of men, and only three kinds of men on this planet. And who are they, children? If you said the slave, the pilgrim, and the acolyte, then you are correct. If you're confused, I'll make things easy for you. Don't be. Hopefully that clears it up. You see, Boldorf has a plan, and he's going to take care of you. Boldorf is going to take care of everything for you, whether you be slave, pilgrim, or acolyte. Boldorf has a plan for you. And what is that plan called? What is this design he is going to bring into fruition? Boldorf will bring about the second agricultural revolution. No more will man eat snail. Boldorf's acolytes will burn the snails. No more will the undead steal your jobs. No more will technology separate you from nature. Slaves, you shall till the earth with your hands, or you shall starve as you deserve, for Boldorf has purchased this world with Bitcoin. And lest ye forget, Boldorf has decreed, thou shalt not trade in slime. Woe to any caught sliming, for Boldorf's acolytes shall beat him as the shepherd beats the sheep. O pilgrim on your way to space, the jealousy you must feel toward the slave who will lead this grand endeavor on their hands and needs working Boldorf's blessed soil. Praise Boldorf, the slaves till the earth, the pilgrims flee to space, but we in his volcanic temple wholly bind our perfect selves. Praise Boldorf.
Earth's unprecedented military buildup is increasingly the topic of both concern and fascination. The astroterrestrial fleet is so massive that at any point on the equator you can see at least one of its ships over the horizon line. Admiral Sprocket of the Earthian Navy gave this statement at a press conference earlier today.
The function of the astroterrestrial fleet is to encircle the entire globe to defend against any attempt at a sneak attack from extraterrestrial invaders, Martian or otherwise. Our ships symbiotically merge classical weapon systems such as lasers, projectiles, bombs, drones, and EMPs with cutting-edge Zodiac-based sentient AI programs. This new fleet is less like a team of tens of thousands of nested swarms of robots and more like one giant animal. While these systems have been created strictly to defend against a possible Martian invasion, they could easily be repurposed to put down any problematic individual, Earthian, or group of Earthians with swift and lethal force, making examples of all those who...
Admiral Sprocket's feed cut out near the end of his statement, but it is presumed he went on to say the construction of the astroterrestrial fleet is an astonishing symbol of Earthian liberty and progress.
ICQN News, the same news agency that took you past the space wall and into the exotic deserts of Mars, is once again setting a new precedent for keeping the galaxy informed by sending our investigative reporter, Vox, to the ocean depths of the kingdom of Thalassaria, a place no Earthian reporter has ventured for centuries. Once again, ICQN is bringing you history and revising it for you, right as it unfolds. Let's check in with our reporter now. Can you hear us, Vox?
Loud and clear.
Our dedicated viewers and listeners want to know how you found yourself in the throne room of a Thalassarian palace. My understanding is you traveled straight from Mars. How were you able to get past the space wall, back down to Earth, and to the depths of the ocean floor? That must have been quite the journey.
Well, basically, we used a state-of-the-art slime-powered particle elevator.
Is that like one of those things that dismembers and reassembles you? Does that mean you died on the way over there?
Possibly, I don't think so. I feel okay and still remember everything.
ICQN was able to secure transportation for Vox in this machine with the help of the Kangaresian Navy, one of the most powerful militaries of the Martian nations. Zolamark, their first representative, has been in talks with not only the Earthian Orbital Parliament, but also the Sovereign Accord of Thalassarian Kingdoms to help ease intraplanetary, interplanetary, and interspecies tensions. Though controversial, some say Zolamark's being an anthrolobster who represents a primarily robo-roo jurisdiction is perfectly suited to the task. This will be the first time many Earthians have ever seen an anthrolobster speak. Another first on this monumentally historic day that could only have been brought to you by ICQN News is that this broadcast will be the first Earthian interview of a Martian political leader taking place on this side of the space wall. Vox, would you do the honor of introducing Representative Zolomark to our audience?
Mr. Zolomark, sir, you are now live, broadcasting to the people of Earth as well as the Earthian orbital sovereignties.
Earthians, Robo-Roos, Anthrolobsters, and Thalassarians, I greet you today, not in the name of peace, but in the name of love, love of life, love of Mars, love of space, love of the blue terrestrial skies, love of the Earth, and love of her oceans.
For the audience at home, Queen Liviara of the Lumiphora Kingdom is watching the speech from atop her throne and communicating telepathically with all the anthrolobsters and Gaiga squids in Thalassaria in a manner similar to our own news broadcast.
We have so much to learn from each other, so much we can build together, and there's so much we can enjoy together. You may wonder why I chose to give this address under the mighty seas of Thalassaria, especially given my heritage as an anthrolobster and the troubled past between our kind and the majestic Giga squid queens who rule these waters with telepathic minds and storied scepters. Many of you would say that what was done to the anthrolobsters in creating us to serve as sentient utilities, silently screaming every day of our lives and having those screams muffled telepathically is unforgivable. But were those screams not also soothed by those same cephalopod matriarchs?
My claws belong to me! My claws
I
belong
am
to
here
me!
to
My
say
claws belong
the
to me!
time
My
has
claws
come
belong to
to
me! My claws!
They put me on a list. They put me on a list. They put me on a list that's 1,000 columns long. Acolytes. 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 Acolytes of boulder rise and march into the depths of the seas and into the palaces of Thalassaria. Acolytes. Acolytes. Acolytes.
That concludes this episode of ICQN News, written and produced by Michael David Marshall. Subscribe to the Insolent Cool Substack for the latest news on our books, games, music, podcasts, and more. The song at the end of this episode is available as part of the show's companion album, Hymns to Boldorf by Forever. As of this recording, Hymns to Boldorf is available on iTunes, Apple Music, and Spotify. Thank you for listening to Insolent Cool Radio. If you enjoyed this program, please share it with a friend and consider leaving a review. Until next time.
And over the space wall and take claim of the Martian nations. Acolytes, the slaves till the earth.